Your honest opinion, what kind of a grade do you give the Nutter administration openness?
Maybe a B minus, if I'm going to give it a specific grade.
Okay, well, we just heard they're releasing lots of data. Where do the demerits come from?
Well, first I'll say the good things. I really do give the Nutter administration high marks for releasing these huge data sets recently. I mentioned the L&I stuff. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of records on, everything from demolitions to, permits and licenses. They also released a lot of information on crime recently, and then I think the bravest data set that they did was they released all of the records on the new property tax reassessments. And for anyone not from Philly, Philly is in the midst of overhauling its property tax assessment system, and so they just reassessed every property in the city, and the city literally just released the whole data set online for anyone to get, journalists, everyday citizens, politicians who don't like, the overhaul. And I think that I really give them high marks for doing that. I think that the administration sometimes appears, or I worry that they either delay requests or deny them in not in good faith. For instance, I don't want to get into too much detail, but I made a request, well actually it was the one that I mentioned earlier that took 3 months, and that was, it's a somewhat sensitive request because of the property tax overhaul that I mentioned. I'll just say it has to do with that. And I do worry that that was delayed because perhaps they didn't want it to be released in the same time period that all of these new assessments were coming out. And another just specific example, the Inquirer a few years ago made a request for Mayor Nutter's daily schedule. And the Office of Open Records, I believe, said that it was a public record, right, Terry? Yep. And the administration has really fought it just really hard, and the courts, I think, have agreed with them for the most part, and the administration has said that they don't want to release it because of a public safety concern, that they think that I guess somebody might be able to track where the mayor goes, and that poses a concern. And I just have to say, I think that's ridiculous. The mayor's press office releases a schedule every single day to say where he is, and not to mention, there are many public officials out there in other states and at the federal level that have just voluntarily released their daily schedules.
Right, they release the public schedule, it's the private schedule that's really the argument here.
Yeah.
I mean, I will also note that the city of Philadelphia, it's been my experience that, as you said, there's no point in making an informal request because they will take the full amount of time that the law allows to respond to a written request, and they also require that the request be on a specific form, which is, I believe, Terry, it's the state right to know form. If you simply cite the law and send them an email, that will not entitle you to the remedies under the law. So with the city, you better make the request in writing, you better make it with the right form, and you can expect them to take the full 35 days.
Right, and the first time that they